Okay, hey friends, so this is another case I had. This is a good example case of what can happen when you open up you flap the gingiva and the bone isn't what you expected. And I have a CT scan too, but it doesn't look like the way you envisioned on the scan. And even clinically, even though the bone could look very healthy, wide, and you may think it's a slam dunk case, once you always have to flap and take a look at the bone itself. So this is a good example of what happened, where I actually had to I placed implants. It didn't look the way I wanted to, so you take them back out, and then on one of them I just replaced it to a different depth, and another one I actually found the implant was just spinning. You got a spinner, so then you have to take a wider diameter, just basically another implant, and then redo it entirely. So that's a good example of when things don't go according to plan. You do need to make adjustment in your surgery, in your case, and don't be afraid to start all over again. So yeah, that's why it's always good to have an inventory of implants too. So the implant I used in this case was Hyosin, and Hyosin is a company where they only sell you implants in bulk. So you need to sign up like I don't know, like $30, $25, $50,000 contract with them, and then you kind of order an inventory, which is a good way to do it if you're doing implants, because you need to have things on standby. Sometimes you need to make adjustments. Like you can't just say, oh, I'm going to place a 4x10 millimeter implant in this premolar area, so that's the only thing I need to order, and then go and place it. Yeah, like maybe 79% of the time it'll go like that, but just on that off 20-25% chance you need to make a change midway through the case, you need to have the part ready to go. So yeah, if you're going to do the implant game, there is an initial cost factor where you need to purchase, a little bit amount, have on standby. So that's why these companies like Zimmer, Nobel, they'll offer like starter package plans where it's like 7,000 or something like that, 8,000, 9,000, where you can just get your basic surgical kit and healing implements and variety of implant sizes to give it a shot and go. And then after that, you do need to purchase more in bulk and have parts on standby. So yeah, and also the main thing I think about this case is if things don't look right, don't just accept it and say, oh, okay, it'll be okay, and just work. If it's not perfect, you have to take it out, especially with implant, and then either try to change and make it perfect midstream, or just close up the case and let the bone heal and come back and fight another day. So definitely don't settle for, good enough in implant cases. It really, if you can, try to make it ideal, because if you don't, it'll come back later to haunt you when you do the restoration. And yeah, I mean, I have cases where I'm like, dang, dude, I should have grafted this more, and I'm just worried because, man, I may have to take the implant out again, regraft, and then just do it all over again. Patient probably loses confidence in you, so it's yeah, just implants one shot, one kill, like that kind of mentality you need to have. So anyways, let's go through this case. Thanks. Okay, so here we go. So you see me here doing the initial pilot drills, just to get the location of where you want to place the implants. I'm placing 2 implants, in this case number 30 and 31. So we're going through our normal twist drill progression here. Going to put in the pins to see where we're at. Make sure, hey, it's occluding where I want it to occlude with the opposing teeth. So this was not the issue. Everything seemed to be going smooth up to this point, and obviously the bone width looked great. And in her, she did have good bone width, but you'll see I didn't extract. I extracted these 2 teeth a while back, and we waited a couple months, and we thought, okay, we could go ahead and now place the implant. But a lot of these post-infected extraction sites, there's a ton of granulation tissue. Yeah, so unless you graft it at that moment and really go in there and try to do bone-guided regeneration, you're going to have this issue where you have this granulation tissue making the gingiva really difficult to reflect, as you can see here. So, I mean, part of the battle with this case was just getting a nice flap done. There was a ton of just unhealthy tissue there. You can see right there that there's still the socket site there didn't really fully come back. so I had to wind up curating a lot of stuff. And sorry for the video angle quality of this camera. It's really hard to record surgeries in the mouth, especially towards the back. I tried my best, but yeah, definitely will improve on giving you guys better angle shots. So yeah, I mean, you can't even really see the drill under the bone, so it's an issue. So I'll try to work on that. So like, yeah, you're curating all that granulation tissue from all this, both sides that I want. Yeah, made this case really a big hassle. So she had like really dense bone, but it wasn't healthy. It was really unhealthy bone. A lot of just granulation tissue, and not a lot of vascularity in the bone itself. But here, okay, so we put the implant here. This was a 5mm diameter implant by High Austin. We got good torque initially, but what I later found out was the implant wasn't placed to the depth we needed it to be. So there was just way too much exposure on the cervical end because the bone didn't quite regenerate to where it needed to be. And partly this is my fault. You can't really see it in the video, the bone area. So the implant you're seeing right now is the back number 31 implant. So the bone there was actually a lot better, a dense bone, but I did not drill to depth to get that implant fully in, and I realized, hey man, I cannot torque this thing by hand any further deeper, and there was just way too much implant left on the cervical side exposed. So I was like, okay, so I got to go back in there, drill deeper, go deeper to depth, past maybe 1 or 2 millimeters, and then redo it. And then, okay, so now you see me place it back to depth. You still have great torque. And then, yeah, the healing bone rate now was at depth that I found really good, acceptable to make the restoration as well. So, yeah, little details make all the big difference. So, this implant also in the front, I had to take it out, and I wanted to drill it deeper into depth and replace it, but I found out, it just kept spinning, so it was no good. So I took that out. And then you see me with a 6.0 drill right there. So I had to go up an implant size to basically have the implant, that's a 6 diameter implant right there you're seeing. So that will cling on to the walls of the socket. So it seemed to work, and it went way deeper, covered most of the cervical area too, so it worked out really well. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was really happy with that result, and just grafted all the slightly exposed places. So yeah, I think I used like a nice Nobel something bone graft material here, and of course I put a membrane over that area as well, and that's how the case went. Yeah, I had to make a couple of adjustments midstream in the case. These can happen, so do be prepared for that. Don't just say, oh, it's okay. But yeah, good result at the end.